The Cassandra Crossing is a 1976 British disaster thriller film directed by George Pan Cosmatos and starring Richard Harris, Sophia Loren, Martin Sheen, Burt Lancaster, Lee Strasberg, Ava Gardner and O. Simpson. With the backing of the European media tycoon Sir Lew Grade and the Italian film producer Carlo Ponti, the international all-star cast was expected to attract a widespread audience, with rights sold prior to filming, to both British and American distributors. Ponti also saw the production as a showcase for his wife, Sophia Loren. Plot: when the existence of a strain of plague is revealed at the U.S. mission at the International Health Organization, 3 terrorists seek to blow up the U.S. mission. 2 of them are shot, one mortally, by security personnel but one escapes. The surviving terrorist is hospitalized and quarantined and identified as Swedish. Dr. Elena Stradner and U.S. Colonel Stephen Mackenzie argue over the nature of the strain, which Stradner suspects is a biological weapon but which Colonel Mackenzie claims was in the process of being destroyed. The 3rd terrorist escapes and stows away on a train bound from Geneva to Stockholm. Dr. Stradner believes that the train should be stopped so that the terrorist can be removed and quarantined, but Colonel Mackenzie is concerned that all of the passengers on the train may have been infected. Mackenzie insists on rerouting the train to an abandoned ex-Nazi railroad line to a quarantine camp in Janov, Poland. However, the line crosses a dangerously unsound steel arch bridge known as the Castlelandlove Bridge or Cassandra Crossing, out of use since 1948. Mackenzie understands that the bridge might collapse as the train passes over it. The presence of the infected terrorist, and the rerouting of the train, precipitates the second conflict, among passengers on the train. They include Dr. Jonathan Chamberlain, a famous neurologist, his ex-wife Jennifer Ispoli Chamberlain, and Nicole Dressler, the wife of a German arms dealer. She is embroiled in an affair with her young companion Robbie Navarro. Navarro is a heroin trafficker being pursued by FBI agent Haley, who is traveling undercover as a priest. Mackenzie informs Dr. Chamberlain of the presence of the stowaway, who is found, but attempts to remove the stowaway via a helicopter are unsuccessful because the train enters a tunnel. Chamberlain is also told that the plague has a 60% mortality rate. Mackenzie, however, informs passengers that police have received reports of anarchist bombs placed along the rail line, and that the train will be rerouted to Nuremberg. There the train is sealed with an enclosed oxygen system and a U.S. Army medical team is placed aboard, with the now deceased stowaway being placed in a hermetically sealed coffin. Dr. Chamberlain learns of the risk of the Cassandra Crossing. He also begins to suspect the disease is not as serious as originally thought. Few of the passengers have become infected and few of those have actually died. He radios Mackenzie suggesting the infected portion of the train be uncoupled and isolated, but Mackenzie has no intention of stopping the train. If the expected Cassandra Crossing collapse occurs, it will neatly cover the fact that the U.S. has been harboring germ warfare agents in a neutral country. Passengers on the train work alone to stop the train before it reaches the Cassandra Crossing. The passengers manage to seize the back half of the train roughly 1 km before the bridge and detach it, hoping that with less weight, the front half will cross safely. But the bridge collapses, killing everyone aboard the front half. The back end applies the brakes and stops just before reaching the down bridge. In Geneva, both Stradner and Mackenzie depart. She keeps hope of survivors while he thinks the elimination of the train means no investigations. A guard on duty orders both of them be watched. Cast, as appearing in the Cassandra Crossing, Sophia Loren as Jennifer Ispoli Chamberlain, Jonathan's ex-wife. Richard Harris as Dr. Jonathan Chamberlain, Burt Lancaster as Colonel Stephen Mackenzie, Martin Sheen as Robbie Navarro, Lee Strasberg as Herman Kaplan, Ava Gardner as Nicole Dressler, O.J. Simpson as Haley, Lionel Stander as Max, Ingrid Thulin as Dr. Elena Stradner, Alida Valley as Mrs. Chadwick, John Philip Law as Major Stark, Anne Turkle as Susan, Ray Lovelock as Tom, Thomas Hunter as Captain Scott. Production: the Cinecittà Studios in Rome were chosen for interiors with French and Swiss locales providing most of the location footage. The steel arch bridge depicted in the film is actually the Gare-Arbit Viaduct in southern France, built from 1880 to 1884 by Gustave Eiffel, who later constructed the Eiffel Tower. At the beginning of the film, passengers arrive at Geneva railway station to embark on the train. The scenes were shot at Basel Central train station. Where Dr. Chamberlain enters the station, the green-colored trams, and Basel Central Station Square can be seen in the background. Many scenes were shot on the railway line Basel-Della copyright Monte-Porrent-Rui. The railway viaduct at Saint-Ursanne can be recognized most easily. Much of the film's special effects involved models and rear screen work that was largely effective, although the studio artwork shows a typical U.S. diesel locomotive that doesn't resemble anything seen in the film, along with a pantograph for overhead electric wires. Peter O'Toole was offered the lead role, but he turned it down. Richard Harris played the part instead. Reception: The Cassandra Crossing did not fare well with critics or audiences as disaster films were no longer a guaranteed box office success. Planned as a star vehicle for Sophia Loren, the large international cast involved illogical casting decisions that were noted by Richard Eder, the New York Times reviewer. Most contemporary reviews also singled out the implausible plotline, although praising the cinematography and Jerry Goldsmith's musical score as noteworthy elements. Variety dismissed the film as a tired, hokey and sometimes unintentionally funny disaster film in which a trainload of disease-exposed passengers lurched to their fate. The graphic scenes of the passengers being killed at the end of the film had ensured an R rating in theaters and led to 2 censored and uncensored versions being released for broadcast and home media. However, the movie still made money. The producers claimed that they recouped the production costs of the film out of Japan alone. References, notes. Bibliography. External links: The Cassandra Crossing at the Internet Movie Database, The Cassandra Crossing at the TCM Movie Database.